Brothers and sisters, any major sin, any sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, or the Prophet ﷺ, and attaches a punishment or a warning or a curse or an anger, or if it has a punishment in Sharia law or has a punishment in the hereafter that is mentioned, know that this is a major sin. How do you know, as a layperson, as a commoner or a person who hasn't studied Sharia? Well, you've got to ask the people of knowledge. And the more you know, the more you abstain, inshaAllah. Here are some other examples which the scholars have enumerated about major sins. Each one of the ones I'm about to mention now, obviously they vary in degrees of severity, some are worse than others. They all have an attachment of punishment or warning or anger from Allah or a curse attached to them. The first one, as I said before, is shirk, which is making partners with Allah, murder, and I'm going to add a few more details here. Just some of the more common ones. Suicide, abortion, serious injustice to others, zulm, serious injustice, not doing your obligatory acts of worship. For example, missing the 5 daily prayers is a major sin, brothers and sisters. Not fasting Ramadan, or even one day, is a major sin. Not paying your zakah is a major sin. Not covering in the way that Allah ordered us to cover. Men have a specific way of covering in front of other people, and women have a specific way of covering in front of non-mahrams and other people. Hijab, the awrah, it's a major sin to reveal them. Another one is adultery, fornication, and homosexuality. Acting upon these three, doing them, is a major sin. Perjury and false witness in court, or false witness when it means others will be harmed. We said this. Riba, which is usury and interest. Gambling, theft, extortion, serious blackmail. Deliberately avoiding paying a debt that you owe to someone that you're supposed to give back, according to Islam, is a major sin if you don't pay it deliberately and you were able to pay it. Not the person who was unable, but the person who was able, unless the person forgives you. Included in that debt, brothers and sisters, this applies to the brothers, the mahar, the bridal gift, or the way they call it, the dowry, or the dower of your wife, which you promised in the beginning of marriage. If you have not given that, and it's owed to her, and she requests it, and you refuse to give it, this is a major sin. It's a debt. Accusing a chaste woman, intoxicants, wine, alcohol, and recreational drugs which can intoxicate a person. As for eating pork and non-halal meat, there is a difference of opinion among the scholars. Some say it's in the major category, others they say it's the minor. Doing it once is a minor sin. Doing it many times becomes a major sin. Another one is harmful backbiting. The scholars differed on whether backbiting is a major sin or minor sin. In general, if the backbiting involves accusation of another person, a slander, it's not true, or can cause serious harm to the person, physically, or their reputation, or their family and property, then it is a major sin, that type of backbiting. The other type of backbiting is the one that is very minor. It doesn't go beyond there, it doesn't cause any harm to the other person, that goes into a minor sin. So not all backbiting is major. However, there is a type of backbiting that is a major sin in all cases, and that's called the gossiper who incites or provokes conflict between people. That one is called namam or namimah. Rasulullah once passed 2 graves. The hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. And the companions saw him get a plant. I don't know what kind of plant it was again. He split it into 2 and put 1 on each grave. This doesn't mean that we put plants. It was the Prophet ﷺ, he did this specifically for these 2 graves from the blessing of his hands. And he said, these 2 men in there are being punished. And they are not being punished for something that you consider big in your eyes, O people. The first one used to take for granted najasa. Najasa means impurities. He used to go to the toilet and doesn't care that the urine used to splash all over his clothes and go and pray with them and worship Allah with them. Never cared about cleaning himself. Now, I don't want people to get into a paranoia from this. Some people, they get into obsessive compulsive disorder. Little bits that you are not aware of, it doesn't matter, inshallah. They are the people who deliberately and actively neglect themselves. That's why young people avoid urinals. And if you can, the sunnah is to sit. And it's also healthy for you. Recent studies have shown this, that long term it helps prevent certain diseases, prostate cancer and so on, if you sit down, even for number one. So anyway, that's what happened. He said the second person used to walk around with namima. He used to go around gossiping to other people about things that would cause conflict and fights between people. That is a major sin, my brothers and sisters. And one more, deliberately praying in a state of junub. You know what junub is, right? An example of junub is when a person wakes up from bed with a wet dream and doesn't have a shower, knows that they are in that state and goes and prays. It's a major sin. You have to shower before it. Or married people, if you, after intercourse, you don't shower and then you go and pray deliberately, this is also a major sin. So these are some of the major sins.